Let's talk. Let's talk. Welcome, ladies. It's so good to have you, ladies, here on this episode of Sister Talks. My name is Lisa Barney. For those of you that don't know, that's visiting us for the first time, and I am one of the hosts of Sister Talks. I am a mom, a grandmother, I'm a pastor, and I am the mother of my co-host, Alexis Barney. And yes, go ahead and introduce yourself, Lex.
My name is Alexis. Again, I am a host, and I'm the daughter of Lisa. I'm a nurse. I work here in Atlanta, and we are so happy to have you guys on. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
So first and foremost, we want to explain to you guys what Sister Talks is. Do you want to go ahead and explain that, Mom?
Yes, Sister Talks is a platform. It's our sacred space. It's a conversation between women where we get to tell our stories, whether they're stories of pain or sorrow or celebration and victory. We're here to unite women, to cultivate relationships, and we're here to celebrate where we've come from and where we're headed. And so we're so glad that each of you ladies have joined us, because I know my story is intricately connected to these ladies' stories, and it's also connected to yours. And it's all familiar territory for us ladies. It's nothing new that we experience as women that no one else has experienced. And so we're just honored and privileged that we get a chance to share this part of our lives with you. And we hope that you just in some small way or some great way that you get something out of this and you're able to share it with another sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, ladies, we want to hear from you. We want to hear who you are. Of course, just introduce yourself to everybody and tell them a little bit about yourself, just really shortly, so everybody knows. So we'll start with Yvette. Hi, Yvette.
Hi, ladies. How are you? Boy, I wear so many hats. I don't even know where to start.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I was married before, and I work for the Housing Authority of Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also a foster mom. I have two beautiful children, my daughter Natasha, who's 24, and my son Jay, who's 19.
Mm-hmm.
So I do have a family. I also do some modeling and some acting here and there in Atlanta. So when I got divorced, I decided to start doing my acting and modeling again.
All right, now, girl. Okay. I feel re-emergence and coming in here. That's awesome.
Trying to stay busy.
All right, then that's ain't nothing wrong with that.
Miss D. Hi, Miss D.
Hey guys.
Hey.
I'm Dee. I am married. Been married for 15 years this year. I have 4 kids. I'm preschool director at my church, so I oversee our preschool ministry. I love animals. Mostly vegetarian and mostly vegan, vegetarian. So really excited about that. We love all friends and we don't eat them.
Oh Lord, she doesn't eat them. I eat them.
Welcome to you. So happy to have you, Miss Sophia.
Hey, hello. Hi, I'm Sophia. I am originally from Jamaica. I have a 17-year-old son. So that makes me a mom. I am still married. I go to school and I work full time.
Wow.
So I keep busy. So, just here to just enjoy and share.
Welcome. All right, now.
Ladies. So I hear all of you guys say one common factor. It's all of you guys are married, right?
No, not all of us.
Married.
Well, have been married.
Yes.
Have been married. So that is pretty important because our episode is about discovering me through marriage and motherhood. And that can be a very difficult and complicated journey. I'm pretty sure you guys know. So let's just dive right in. Okay? So I know that being married, I'm actually single myself. I've never been married before. So this episode is going to be very informative for me as well. So I thank you guys for being on here. But I know with marriage, a lot of the trends that I see is that marriage and having children can be very time consuming. And it can be very it can consume so many aspects of your life, right? And sometimes, because it's all consuming, as women, we tend to lose ourselves a little bit through marriage and through motherhood. So, with that being said, I just want to hear about just generally how you guys have weathered through those things, how you guys have managed those things as women, as moms, as wives, some of the pitfalls that you guys have encountered, some of the triumphs, some of the things that you guys can share on. But first and foremost, I want to know, before you guys got married, who were you? Who were you before you became a wife? Who were you before you became a mother? I don't know if it's something you guys can think about for just a second, but whoever wants to start first, who were you as a woman before you became a wife and mother?
Oh, but I can start first if you want. I mean, like you heard me say, when I got divorced, I went back to the modeling and the acting. So before I got married, I was Miss Rhode Island, 1999.
Wow.
I was Miss Rhode Island, and I was doing my modeling and my acting, and I was very happy doing all these things. And what happens is when you get married, sometimes you lose yourself a little bit. I mean, I did. I decided to just throw myself into being a mom and a wife and helping my husband with his career and making sure that he was happy. And so, yeah.
Wow.
So then when I got divorced, I decided to go back to doing what I used to do. So one thing I will tell you is don't lose yourself. And I know I did.
Well, before I was a mom, I was a happy-go-lucky young girl, just enjoying herself, doing what she wants to do, didn't care what anybody wants to say about me, having all this confidence and everything. And it's hard when you have to actively think about somebody else's feelings. So before I was a mom and a wife, or it was just me and just enjoying. I shared other people's views and cared about people's ideas and stuff, but it was just basically what I wanted to do. So that's the difference.
Now, Sophia, did you get married while living here, or did you get married back in Jamaica?
So I was dating my husband in Jamaica for a year and a couple, like 16, 17 months before I got married. I was here and then went back home and I got married to him.
And he stayed in Jamaica and you went back here.
Yeah, so we were living like a five years of long distance marriage.
Wow.
So he was there. So he's just been here for 2 years now.
Okay.
Okay. Well, for me, unlike Yvette, she was a beauty queen. And for me, when I got married, first of all, I had been with my boyfriend, who is now my husband, for years before we even got married. And I had no idea who I was. I came from a background where I grew up in the projects of New York City, and I was a street girl, meaning that I just hung out in the street with my friends and partied and did everything that you do when you're hanging out in the streets, whether it's drugs or being promiscuous or partying. I did all of that, and so and I was very, very, very insecure. And so when I came into a relationship with my boyfriend, turned into husband, I had a lot of baggage I carried into that relationship with me, and I felt like he was the one that was responsible for defining who I was. I felt like my job was just to become a mother and a wife. I was already a mother when I got married, but I felt like everything that was wrong with me, he was going to help fix it, and I was going to find myself, and I was going to be good. I was gonna, just discover who I was when I got married, and I was very, very, very sorely disappointed. None of that happened the way I thought was going to happen, but it was unfair for me to have that expectation not only of him, but I was delusional. I looked to somebody to be able to give me some sense of value or help me to discover who I was. I had no idea who I was. As a young woman, it took decades to find out who I was.
Right. Yeah,
I think that's fair for everybody.
Right. Dee, who were you? What did that look like?
Yeah, so before I got married, well, to go back, I grew up in a broken home, a mom who, she was with a man, she wasn't married to him. He molested me through my whole childhood. I had him, then she broke up with him, and then she got married to another man who was very emotionally and physically abusive to me and my brother. She wasn't very supportive of me in any way. So we didn't have a good relationship. So when I moved out at 18, which I could not wait to move out when I was 18, I didn't know who I was. Honestly, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, you're just living life. I'm not even conscious of the fact that, like, I need to think of, like, who I am. Really, I was very insecure. I was looking for validation of what a boy or what a man thought of me. So, that I could change myself to suit his need. When I met my husband now, we were 19 when we met, and he was just as broken. So here I am trying to change who I am to suit what he wants, what he thinks that he wants in me. He was into rap music. Like, oh, well, let me start listening to more rap. Or he wants video games. Let me learn how to play video games. Or he likes to play basketball. Let me learn how to play basketball just so he'll like me, because I feel like he validated who I was. So because he thought I was, all these things, that made me feel important. And it really wasn't until recently that I actually, that God just kind of showed me, like, it's time to take some time out and really learn who you are and what I'm asking for and what I've put inside you. I had no conscious clue. For years, let's see, we've been married 15 years this year, so it's been almost 4 years ago that God just recently, like, light bulb, like, it was a light bulb moment. Like, I need to learn who I am. I'm not just his wife. I'm not just a mom. I was a stay-at-home mom after we had our kids. Like, he worked, I stayed at home. I had nothing. And so when I was working at my job, and I felt I grew, if I can explain a little bit, I started out as, like, this lead teacher in a classroom, and then I grew into, like, a kids director at one of the campuses, and then went to another campus and became, like, this big preschool director, and then something happened with that, and so I was like, oh man, like, here I am, I did this thing, and then I lost some pieces of that, and it really shook my whole world, because I was like, man, I earned this thing, right? And I worked hard for this thing, and I lost some pieces of it, and it really broke me. And so it wasn't until that moment where I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't define me either. Being married doesn't define me. Being a mother doesn't define me, and this job doesn't define me. And it was the shaking of that world that helped me to put that light bulb on, to really, even now, just, internally search who it is that God called and created me to be. So that's kind of where I am right now.
Right. So, but why do we do that? I was going to ask that question, ladies. And why do we do that? Because I could so relate to what you're saying, Dee. Because I did the same thing. Everything that I thought that my man wanted me to be, that's who I was going to become. Yeah. I was going to try to be the best mother. Yeah. I was going to try to be the best freak of the week. Yeah. I was going to try to be fly and cute. I was going to, whatever you needed. You want stunts? You want food? You want cute? You want fly? You want sexy? You want this? You want that? I did it, and it was exhausting.
That's what I was about to say. Isn't that exhausting?
It is exhausting, and the sad thing about it is that it made no difference, because at some point, after I tried to do and become all these different things, then he got, he tired of that.
Yeah, appreciate it.
I was frustrated. I was like, wait a minute now. I tried to do all these things. I tried to be all these things, and I'm tired. And I got these kids coming at me, and then I began to feel worse. Because I really began to feel like I was worthless, because at some point when the gloss wore off, and he wasn't impressed no more, then now I try to become this person, and now I'm just, like, left shattered, like, dang, I really don't have no value, because I did all of this stuff, and it still ain't good enough.
Right. Now with that sense of, like, awareness of, like, man, I'm doing all this stuff, I'm exhausted, and it's not even working. This is not even working for me. Did you become resentful of the roles that you played? Like, as wife, I know your kids, it's hard to compare kids to, like, your husband, but, like, the roles that you took on as trying to be this person that you really weren't. Did you become resentful of those things?
Alexis, to tell you the truth, I was very happy married for 21 years. I was with Jeff for 25 years of my life. I was a very happy wife. He treated me very well. He was, a good father, so I was happy where I was. I was happy working. I'm one of these people that like routine. I like going to work, coming home, cleaning, and I liked having that routine, doing that, taking care of my kids, taking my son to his baseball games, taking my daughter to dance class. I enjoyed all that. I made sure that I would wake up every morning and I expected to be doing all these things, cooking and cleaning and taking care of him and making sure everything was, the way, like Lisa said, I was always trying to be the very best wife I could be. I got to look good for my husband. I can't be walking around with Rolos or, not looking cute for him, because I had to make sure that I'm not going to lose my man. I have,
Yeah.
I wanted to, those women that lose their men, those are the ones that they don't give him sex, or they're the ones that don't cook the dinners. They're the ones that don't
Right.
clean the house. And I did everything in my power to make sure I was, being that good wife, being the good mom. And when my husband left me, I was devastated. I was devastated because I had felt like I did all this and I still lost my marriage.
Yeah.
It was devastating to me. But the one thing that I can tell you, it would have been less devastating if I would have continued doing what, who I was. If I would have continued the modeling and I would have continued doing the things that I was doing prior to getting married, it would have been less devastating.
Right.
Because when you lose your best friend like that, it hurts. It really, really hurts. But when God, when you have God in your life, like Sophia was saying and Dee was saying, when you have God in your life, you tend to think of things differently, So
Yeah.
when the love of my life left me, I could think of, well, what does it say in the Bible about love? When you love someone, you have to let them go. You have to let them go and be happy. But then I had to refine myself. I had to and say, okay, I was happy being with him. I felt like I wasn't happy without him. I thought I
Right.
was going to be happy without him. I felt like I lost my whole life because my whole life was him, the children, the house, and everything. So when I said, okay, he's gone, I got to go back to where was I before I got married. Okay, these things make me happy. Let me go back to modeling, the acting, the things that I used to do that was me, part of me, that still made part of Yvette. And
Right.
when I did that, it made a big difference. So
So that was
not
Okay.
losing yourself.
For me, it was a little bit different because I was a little bit older than you guys when I got married. So I was in a 13-year-old relationship with my son's dad before, and I thought I was going to be Mrs. So and so. Nobody could have told me that I wasn't going to be, because my vision of having a child is because this is going to be my soulmate. This is going to be the one I'm with, and that didn't work out. And I think that's when I said, I'm doing me, and I was not going to go through this pattern again that I went through with him, because it wasn't like all faithfulness and loyalty. So I realized that I'm the one who's always there for everyone. I'm always standing there. I'm always supportive, even supportive in the way I shouldn't be supportive, taking care of all the things that I need to take care of as the breadwinner, so to speak, or the person who just, I'm so independent that, because at this time I had a career. So I'm so independent that I don't need you to do this. I'm doing it. And that's the misconception that I had in my life, that once I'm independent and like once I can do everything I want to do, they won't have an issue. They won't have to take care of me, so they'll be fine. And I decided I wasn't going through that trend again. And I met my husband, Paul, and I figured, he was younger than I am. And I'm like, the ambition I'm like, okay, let's see if we can work from scratch together.
Yeah.
And that was what I thought. But like Lisa said, the expectations that we have of someone else, that we think alike. And I realized that I didn't have this young man. I didn't birth him. So the things that he thinks about and the morals he has, totally different from what I think. And that's what leads women, to fall, because we think our spouses or our soulmates should think like we do, should know what we want and want to be there and do the things that we want them to do. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why we hurt and go through not knowing who we are, because we're trying to change just to fix, we're women. We're persons who fix the homes, or the persons who get rid of the boo boo for the kids, or the persons who
Right.
mend the heart. So, if our man is broken, you try everything, even though you can't do anything. So I think sometimes we try too much, and that's when we get devastated when it doesn't work out.
Right.
Yvette, let me ask you a question. So, um, what explanation could he have possibly given you? Because you said that you had a great marriage, and so you was living like this is going to be my forever love, you know.
Oh, forever, girl.
And so what in the world could he have said to you? And you know, and I don't like what
Girl,
did
I
he
told
say?
you, I gave this man everything but the, the no square. That's what my daughter calls it, and I think you ladies know.
Mm-hmm. No,
Okay.
no square. Yeah, you said the no square.
You know the no square.
Yes. Yes.
And I said I will not do that, but I did just like you did, Lisa. I mean, you said you were trying to be the cutest mom, the cutest wife, and everything. And the funny thing is, he said to me, "You did everything right. You did everything right. You didn't do anything wrong." And he couldn't blame. There was no blame on me. You know, he said I did everything right, and I was like, "Wow, I did everything right, and still my marriage failed." So, well, the thing is, you got to go into marriage not thinking, you know, you got to think, yes, you want it to last forever. Okay, you do. You want to think that, but you also don't want to be afraid that you think is going to end someday. You just gonna have to just live. Just be. Look, you're two people that are in love with each other, and life changes you sometimes, and you may grow apart or you may grow closer. We grew closer. We had two beautiful children and everything. His explanation was that it was his fault, and I couldn't think anything about. I wanted to make him happy. So if I didn't make him happy anymore, I wanted him to be happy. And I told him, go ahead and be happy. Go with that woman and be happy, and I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I cried and I tried to compare myself to that woman, and I try to say maybe because she has blue eyes and I don't. Is it my brown hair? Is it should I be blonde? No. I started comparing myself, and I said to myself, I don't want to do that anymore. I said, I'm a beautiful woman. There's nothing wrong with me. I can find somebody else. I'm gonna let him be happy. I'm gonna be happy for him, and I'm gonna move on with my life. And you know what? The time we spent together was worth it for me. The life that we shared together, and the two children that we brought into this world together, is worth it for me. I'm happy to have met him. I'm happy to have met the family that he introduced me to. His family and my family are still, very, very good family together. We love one another. So I didn't lose anything. I gained family. I gained family, and I think about it that way. But I always say, if I get married again, I want to make sure that this person is like me in the godly way, that I'll never break up with that person. I'm gonna make it work no matter what. I'm gonna fall in love with you every day, regardless. I was in love with that man every day. I would wake up every morning and find a wrinkle to love on him. If he farted, it smelled fine to me.
Wow.
How much in love I was with this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how it is. But I want to find someone who thinks the way I do, that will love me till the end. That's how I'm hoping that there's someone out there that will think the same as me.
I think that is so admirable and so amazing.
Bravo, Yvette.
First of all, you have healed from that situation, because some women walk around, right, understandably so, very bitter, very angry, very hurt, when they have invested so much energy and so much time and so much love into somebody for over 20 years, and some people do not have the ability to recover past something like that. And for you to have the stance that you have, and saying, you know what, it happened, it's not my fault, I don't regret anything, I love him to the best of my ability, and I'm letting him go and find his happiness, and I'm going to find mine too.
Yeah,
that's big.
That's what I'm trying to get to.
Sophia, where are you in that journey? Because Yvette, you came out on the other side. Like, you went through the heartache, you went through the chaos and the comparisons and the jealousy and the insecurity, and you came out it seems like you come out on the other side, even like a better person.
Thank you, Jesus.
Like,
Thank you, Jesus.
Right? So Sophia,
it wasn't easy. I'm not gonna say it was easy, ladies.
Yeah.
I did spend a good, I'm gonna say a good year of that woo-hoo-hooing and all that.
That's some time left.
And like the comparing myself, and But when you like Dee said, if you have God in your life, you tend to you find God. I said God made me
We evolve.
perfectly. He made me who I am.
That's
There is
right.
nothing wrong with me. I was a good wife for many years. I can be a good wife for somebody else.
Yeah.
It's never too late to start over. I'm in my 50s and I feel great. I'm exercising. I'm taking care of my children. And I wanted to teach my children that regardless what happens in life, we must get up, dust ourselves off, and try again.
Yes, yes.
So
Because he
this
still has purpose for you. He still
Huh?
has purpose for you. Yeah.
Yes.
this
God
is
still has
where
a
I
purpose. That's right, Dee.
this is where I'm at.
God still has a purpose.
I am still in the bitter zone, sort of ish, but now I'm working on me. So I realized that even though we did all that we thought we should, we were trying to grow this person into somebody we wanted to. Not it's not like it's not our child. Well, I was because you guys grew up with your relationship. I was already grown, and this is a younger person. So I am sure I had some faults, which is unlike Yvette, my husband didn't say it wasn't you. You know, I was mostly partially the blame. He says I was bottling him up and stuff like that, which I couldn't see, and I didn't see it. I thought I was just saying, this is the way we're gonna go. This is how we do it. This is, but not realizing that I still don't see it, but he says that's what I do, and I just have to accept his truth and his reality for what he saw it as. So he moved out, and he said he wanted to be out of a relationship, out of a marriage, not relationship. I'm sure he's with somebody else, but he wanted to be out of a of the marriage because he wanted to be free. And those words hurt me up to this day because I did not go into a relationship to walk out because I didn't feel like a marriage because to walk out when I feel like I'm tired of this relationship. I just want to be free. I'm a godly person. I'm a Christian, and so I was trying to learn how to be a wife and not just married. Because for 2 years I was just married. When he was here, I felt like I was just being married to him. So I went deeper into the Bible and searched and researched and studied, and I realized that I was just being a wife. You know, I was just being married, and the Bible says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing." So I was trying to be a wife, and that's how I thought that okay, I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. I saw my flaws, and I was trying. But to answer your question, Alexis, I'm growing from where I am with the bitterness. I understand now what he was going through. I trust in his truth. I just want him to grow as well because he has some growing to do, and I'm just gonna trust God that he's gonna take me through this. I don't hate the persons he was had children with because he had a kid in our marriage and stuff. I was bitter towards her for I try now to say, God, let's forgive them.
Yes.
You have forgiven me for sinful thoughts, or sinful ways. Let's forgive them and move on. And that's where I'm at. So I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with his kids. I just want him to know that I do love him because I still love him. And I'm trying to get from, I'm trying to get from the anger. So I'm going through anger management. Okay, I'm working on me.
Good girl.
So when I work on me, even if we don't work out, if he stays away, and I move on, I'm a better person.
Right.
So losing myself in a marriage and losing myself to everything I do, I think God has a way of showing you, evolution. You evolve.
You do.
Something else that God wanted you to be.
Yes. Sophia, you're always gonna love that person because when your love is real, it doesn't go away. But you're gonna love that person in a different way. You love and respect that person because he's the father. He's the father of my children. He's not okay. He's the father of my children, and I love him because he's the person he was. I mean, he still was funny. He still did a lot of things I like. We still danced together. We still went out on dates. There was so many good things about the marriage that I can't deny. I can't sit here and forget those things that I enjoyed. Just because I went through what I went through, that doesn't mean that those other things never happened. So you remember those things fondly, and you laugh about it, and you go, "Wow, those were good times." And now it's a different time, and now I have to move on from that and get rid of that hurt, and like you said, forgiveness.
Yeah.
And not from the mouth, because I was saying I forgive you, and I didn't
Yeah.
mean one word.
Wow.
I didn't mean it at all.
Ooh.
True.
Remember, I mean, we had a couple episodes back where we were talking about forgiveness, and what I learned then was forgiveness is not a linear journey. Forgiveness is not I'm going from point A to point B, and then once I'm at point B, I'm done and I'm over it. It's literally you're going through ups, downs, roller coasters, highways. Some days you feel like you're on top of the world and you're over it, and then something will trigger you. A memory, a picture, experience, a smell, and you're brought right back to being like, and then you have to remind yourself, okay, I'm choosing to move forward. I'm choosing. I choose to not be bound by the hurt and the disappointment that they and not to walk in that, because it's only destructive to me.
Yeah, paralyzes you.
It paralyzes you.
Jesus.
And you come to that moment and that time, and it could be a one-time point of reference, or it could be the 10th time you're going through that. But it's still a journey. Like it's never going to be easy. But it's necessary for you to move forward and to be a better person, and to just be a more fulfilled person, not let that anger, control you.
And I beat myself up because I keep on saying, why don't you just stop crying? Why don't you just stop crying? You're stronger than this. You're stronger than this. You can go. You don't. I mean, like I said before, I was always independent. I grew up without my mom from I was like 15. So she's been here. I never needed anything in Jamaica. So that was one of the things that I didn't have to look. Most young women or young girls had to look to a man first off. I never ever had to. So shout out to my mom. But yes, I never had to. But at the same time, it made me so independent that I thought I didn't need anyone, and I could do anything. And so beating up myself like, what did I do wrong? How I'm just a loving, caring person. I did everything, so it must be me, kind of thing. Or but when you tell yourself, when you realize that it's not you, and it's two different people. And we have differences, and we're trying to get together to become one. And if you're not on the same level, as in this is what you want for your life, and this is what we want together, then So I try to stop beating up myself, trying to stop feeling sorry for myself, and just saying, God, you got this, and you got me, and just taking it one day at a time.
Right. So Yvette and Sophia, you guys, so Yvette, you went through a divorce, and you kind of just rediscovered yourself through that process. Right. And then Sophia, you are going through the divorce, and you're trying to pick back up where you left off and rediscover yourself through that situation. But Mom and Dee are still married. So was there a point for Dee and Mom, like, where did you have a point in your marriage or in your life, being a wife and a mother, where it was like an epiphany moment of like, hold up, wait, what am I doing? Who am I? Like, what moment was that for you guys where you're just like, okay, I need to figure out myself. I need to figure out what I'm doing here and find fulfillment in somebody else other than this man, because it's not working out.
Dee, I'll let you go first.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, it was the moment of when the whole job thing happened, because I had nothing before then. I didn't go to college, financial reasons. My husband went to school. After he got out of college, he was pursuing a career that he wanted. I supported him in that. We had kids, and I was staying home taking care of the kids while he was off doing his thing. And then he got a full-time job, so he was working all the time. I was home. He was a minister at a church that we were at. I was just the mom. I was just his wife, taking care, because I didn't have anything. So the one thing that I had, and I lost pieces of it, in that moment I was like, but I earned this. This is what I do. This is who I am. But then I realized, after talking with some people, they pointed out to me, like, but Dee, that's not who you are. That's not who God called you to be. Like, that's what you do. That's not who you are. It seriously was a light bulb moment for me when it caused me to look within, and all these years of catering to him and catering to our children and putting myself aside, and not even searching within, that God's got something for me. Like, yes, I'm a mom. Yes, I'm supposed to impart into the next generation through my children. Yes, I'm a wife. But that's not who I am. That's not who God got something for me. And so it took me time. It's taken me this time to really realize, like, okay, I got to learn to love myself. That's first, and spend some time healing, praying over the things of being molested. Like I had very, very low self-esteem. I was molested. I was sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused. My mom didn't care about me. So here I am growing up thinking I'm nothing. So when you grow up thinking you're nothing, you don't know that you have value because you've never been told you have value.
That's right.
So the past few years has really been a journey for me just to find out that I love me. But why do I love me? I'm not less than somebody else because they have this. I would be so jealous of people like, wow, they've got these great things. Like, my career, they sing great because I love to sing. Y'all don't know that about me, but I love to sing. I don't have the courage yet to sing in front of people, but I love to sing. But I would hear people saying like they can sing or they've got this, they've got that, and I would find no value in me and what God called me to be. And it really has just been this journey for me, just learning to love myself, and not in a vain way, not in a way that causes even lose sight that God is who I should be. It's not an idol kind of thing situation. You know, sometimes you hear the world, their new thing is like, you know, a better me and learn to love me. Like, it's not like that to where I'm not focusing because I'm focusing on Him. He's revealing to me who I am. He's giving me, you know, plans. And I'm just so thankful in this journey that, like, okay, yes, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a wife. But God's got something for me. He's got a calling for me. And Dean, you are valuable. You are valuable because I created you with purpose. I created you in my image. And so it's been a while, but that's kind of where I am now.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great, Dee. Well, for me, you talked about did we experience an epiphany, Alexis? That's an interesting word because my husband, we've been together for a very long time, and we grew up together. So I'm 56 years old now. So my husband was very good in over here. We can compartmentalize things that he was really good at as a man and as a husband. But there was the thing that included me that he wasn't very good at all. And so I lived for many years in a relationship where I was devalued and I was made to feel less than. And my expectation of him was to make me feel like I was worth something, and he didn't. Yeah. In fact, he did the total opposite. He helped contribute to my sense of worthlessness. I didn't have the kind of marriage that Yvette had, where in our personal relationship, I'm not talking about provider and father and all that other kind of stuff. In our personal interactions with each other, I didn't have the kind of marriage where I felt secure, loved, validated, affirmed, considered. None of that existed. It existed in parts, here and there, but it was not the norm in my relationship. And so I spent many years bitter and angry and resentful and so broken. I mean, I can remember me sitting in my bathtub and just weeping and crying. And you read the Bible and it talks about sackcloth and ashes, which gives an impression of grieving over guilt. But I was grieving over feeling so unloved. And God is so miraculous in that even though the darkest times in my marriage, where I just wanted to run, but I wouldn't run because I felt like I had my kids, and there was something that was keeping me there, and I know now it was God.
Yes.
But I would be weeping. I spent many years crying, and no one would know it because we're really good as women at wearing a mask. We really can hide those things. Hold on, okay. Show me your memory, and I'll continue.
I have a memory, and my mom is the greatest woman I have ever known for multiple reasons. But I can remember unhappiness. I was a kid, where was in the dark and she was sobbing. She was crying. And I remember her just hugging me. And I was like, Mommy, what's wrong? Like, are you okay? She was just like, I love you so much and you're all that I have. My kids are all that I have. And at the time, I didn't understand. I didn't understand where was this coming from. And like, I was like, well, you have a lot of things. Like, you have a house, you have a husband, but I didn't understand until I was older because I didn't understand what she was going through. I didn't understand that how hopeless and how miserable she felt. So when she says things like, when she talks about this stuff, it connects a lot of dots that I saw when I was younger. And it makes sense. A lot of things that I saw, it makes sense. So back to what you're saying.
So I knew what the Bible said. I gave my heart to the Lord when I was 26 years old, but it had been so ingrained in me that I absolutely had no value. I was in a very abusive relationship before my marriage. I was very physically abusive, and so and there were things that happened during my upbringing that cultivated that initiated that I would even allow that to happen to me. But in my marriage, I felt like there was such disdain for me in my personhood, and it was all related to my past. So my husband didn't have the capacity to see who I was becoming because he was so set on looking who I had been before him that he couldn't get past. He didn't have the ability to move past it. So when he saw me, he saw who I used to be, the person, the young girl I used to be, and I would try so hard to get in. I'm different. I'm not that person anymore. I'm different. But he didn't see it for many, many, many years. And so what I did, I needed an anchor to keep me from drowning. And so my anchor to keep me from drowning was church. And I began to pour myself into ministry and being a youth leader and just poured myself into that. And my mother told me one time when she knew I was in one of the darkest times of my marriage, and she said, focus on your children and yourself. I let myself go. I mean, I was really, really self-absorbed and trying to be cute because, I was always trying to impress somebody. But I let myself go. I gained weight. I didn't buy myself any clothes. I didn't wear any makeup. I really just forgot about myself. That's how pitiful I was. And I believed everything that he and everybody else had said about me. This is the person I was married to, that it was supposed to be different. I was supposed to be different, and I didn't. And I had people behind me. I mean, I had people, we're talking about an anchor. I had people behind me that was pushing me forward, that was affirming me. There was people that was, no, you're not that person. You're amazing. You're wonderful. Right. And I just didn't believe it. And it happened, my epiphany happened somewhere around the age of 50 years old.
Oh my gosh.
Somewhere around the age of 50 years old, where I started believing what was true about me. And I started to take a stand. I stood up because I had been in a posture of being shrunk and being beaten down for so long, not physically, but emotionally. Something began to emerge inside of me. And I began to stand up and say, wait a minute. Hold up. Yeah. I'm not who you say I am. That's right. That's right. But to give him the benefit of the doubt, also he began to emerge into someone different. Yeah. He began to mature, and he began to look and say, well, you know what? Wow, you are something special, something. But that didn't do much in me because I had to contend with that root of bitterness that was so ingrained in me. And I wouldn't believe it. When he would try, I wouldn't believe it. I said, I'm sure you're right. Because I had been convinced of this mindset of how devalued I was for so many years and so suspicious of his intentions. So I just didn't believe it. And so when I turned 50 and I started doing more, I started coming back into myself. I started taking better care of myself. I started exercising. I started doing things for myself. And I started, and I had got this shirt when I turned 50. It said, it took 50 years for me to blossom. And that was my moment because I realized, you know what? guess what? I'm not going to continue to agree with you or anybody else says about me. I'm going to decide now, after all these years, I'm going to believe what God has to say about me.
Yes.
Process. It didn't happen immediately, but the stones were building, and I was able to start to really move forward. And it got better and better and better. I went to ministry school. I was like, you know what? I'm moving forward. I'm not letting anybody stop me. I loved and still love my husband dearly because I believe that he was the catalyst that pushed me toward God.
Yeah.
You know, we look at things and we don't see in full, but I thank him, and he said, I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about that. And I said, because of you, I am the person I am in God. I'm a pastor, and I have grown so close to God because of what I've experienced in my marriage. And for the majority of it was very difficult. It was very sad. But I knew that I knew that God had not released me from that marriage.
And you know what's good about that, Lisa, is that he took that journey to pull out of you. And so I love how God will take something that how we feel might be a negative attribute, negative that happened to us, and just really impart who we are in Him or what He has calling us. It's never in waste or in vain of what we go through. So I just love that God, here you are at 50, you had a moment of like, and then you said you're the reason, you're the catalyst for that. But I just love how God, like, nothing goes in vain, and nothing is
nothing's wasted
for God. Yeah.
That's right. So now he said, you ain't going nowhere, and this is it. You're gonna be here forever. You stuck with me forever, and I just look at him, and he's my buddy now. Old man. I don't want to call his name out, but y'all know who my husband is.
Yeah.
But I think that he has truly seen a butterfly emerge out of that cocoon. I believe that he has seen that chrysalis that I just had to get out of that.
That's right.
And I'm more confident. I'm more assured. I'm just like, whatever. I'm very carefree. And I am going to do me while loving him and my family. That's what I'm
right. That's what it's going to be. That's what it's going to be.
I saw the evolution. I saw the evolution. I can remember just small things. Because I was a audience to all of this, right?
Yes.
So, I remember the transformation. I remember being like, okay, you're getting your nails done. Okay, I see you just went shopping. You don't do that. I see you on vacation with your girls.
Oh yeah.
And it was not a disregard for him. It was more just so like, listen, like, I'm trying to do what I gotta do for me. Love you, and you're always gonna be taken care of, and this is always gonna be us. But I have to make sure I'm straight.
That's right.
And you spent years catering to us, catering to your husband, and you really didn't pour into yourself until that time. And that now it's your time.
That's right.
And now it's your time. So my question is that when Dee and Mom, like, when you guys were going through this stage of like blossoming and figuring out who you were, like, I know my dad had a little bit of like sideward feelings about that situation because he was so used to everything being about him. Everything was about him, and he's a brat. Like, he is spoiled, and he has a lot of expectations because for his whole marriage, my mom catered to him and what he wanted, and so now that other things have been a priority in your life, he's had a little bit of a challenge in trying to adjust, knowing that your attention is being drawn elsewhere. So you can speak a little bit more into that. But Dee, was that like a challenge for your husband when you were coming into your own and figuring out yourself? Was that like, did he feel a little something, a little type of way, or was he like, babe, do your thing, like, I'm supportive? Well, how was his attitude towards that?
So when all that was going place, we were actually in a really rough place in our marriage. So we were actually I wanted to get a divorce, quite honestly, because I was coming into my own, and we honestly didn't have a good marriage up until that point because he was broken, I was broken, and you've got two broken people we both came from dysfunctional homes and trying to live a Christian life, and honestly, I always say that if it wasn't for the fact, and I know that God knew what he was doing, he gave me patience so early because we got married and I was pregnant a month later because I didn't want to leave. I wanted to leave my marriage early on. We had a really rough marriage. He was very selfish. And it was very easy for him to take advantage of my kindness and my love because I'm just so giving at all times.
Right.
So in the moment when God really just was revealing some things to me, I was ready to leave because I was like, I'm just done. I'm done catering to you. I'm done seeing about you, worrying about how you feel, and I've been putting myself aside. And so we went through a really, really rough couple, maybe a year and a half ish, maybe. We sought some counseling, and he started to change, and he started to change. And not change who he is, but change just his outlook and how he looked at like how God was trying to grow me. He changed that. Now he's so encouraging. Like it's like a 180. It's so different now. I am so thankful. He's so encouraging. He's like, you need your time. Go spend time. Go listen to God.
That's good.
Yeah, so he's very, very encouraging in that way. I thank God. I think if he didn't change, we wouldn't be married today. I know that I wanted to leave.
But the difference when they have God.
And he encouraged me through it. So we're in a good place now. So thank God. So he's very encouraging. Yes. Right now he's like, go babe. He's my cheerleader. Like, go baby, you got it.
All right now. That's great.
I love you. I serve you. That serves me. I am not a mom who has to worry about a husband who complains about helping with the kids. Lord, he will help with the kids.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah, he's a good man. So no, he wasn't like that, but he's like that now. And then, I'm thankful where we are today, honestly. So
Alexis, people can change. Her husband is, that's
what he helped her out. But he wanted to, though. He wanted to.
Right. So it's a difference when they have God and when they want to. Yeah. My husband, he says he knows God, but my prayer for him is for him to really know God. Yes. Even though we're separated right now, I still pray for him. And when he came over last week, I told him, I'm still praying for you. And he was like, what are you praying for? I'm like, so you can see God's face. And he was like, I know God's face. You know how they are. But So my prayer for him is that he seeks God as his true savior and stop running on the things of this world, because there's just nothing out there for him to do. And even if he doesn't want to be with me, I just want him for his salvation.
Yeah.
Alexis,
I can't save him.
Yeah, it's like Sophia says, we want them to be saved and we want them to look for God like we look for God. But sometimes you just have to let people find God in their own way.
Yes.
You got to let them find God in their own way. My ex-husband, he found God in his own way. I went to church. He didn't like it much, but he would start coming with me. And at the end, he knows who God is. Regardless of whether he got divorced or not, he knows God. And I can't say that he doesn't. Everyone has their own way of relationship with God. Exactly. So. All this, you should learn something.
Yes.
What your mom said, what Dee said, what Sophia said. Don't, be who you are. Still have your friends. There are certain friends that you shouldn't hang with. There were some friends I had to let go when I got married because they weren't too good for my marriage because they didn't know how to dress in front of my husband. Some women be wearing revealing stuff, showing their breasts and things in front of my husband. My husband had to tell me. He said, honey, I need you to tell your friend that she needs to wear a bra when she comes here because I'm a man and I can't look at her face. I'm talking to her and I'm looking at her. I'm like, oh my God, wait a minute.
That's right, man. That's right, girl.
At least you're honest, because some people like,
I want to be married. There are certain girlfriends you cannot have, and there were some I had to still be friends with them from far away. And you can still hang out with friends, just be with friends that are going to help your marriage and help you stay together.
And you are good at marriage, not married, be destructive. That's really important. Yeah.
Because some friends will come in and think that they can take your man from you. Be careful.
I ain't got time.
But still hang out, still do the things that you do, still be you, still like Dee was saying something about she learned how to play video games for her boyfriend and stuff like that. I don't my ex loved video games. I never learned how to play video games because I didn't like it. I let them play video games.
Yeah, give lots of time.
Go, good, you're fine. I'll go read my book or do my modeling or do my hair or my makeup, do my thing to me. I did the stuff that made me happy, and that's where I was always happy, and I've always been happy. You know, I think that's why I got through so fast, because I remembered one thing. I was made in God's image, and only God matters to me. What He thinks of me is what matters to me most.
That's it.
And that's it.
That's it.
Well, ladies, I know that you had the advice that you gave, like, just do you. Just make sure that whatever you do not lose yourself.
That's right. That's right.
Doing the things that you love. Stay connected to who you are, just as a person. Not the roles you like, but who you are as a person and what makes you happy. So, what advice would you impart, just to bring this whole thing together? What advice would you impart on somebody that's getting married, like somebody that's looking forward to marriage, like myself, and not losing yourself, or possibly rediscovering or discovering yourself, all while trying to juggle the things that deal with marriage and motherhood and all of that?
Honestly, I would just say being intentional, because it's very easy to go through your day to day, and got to get the kids to school, got to cook dinner, got to pay the bills, got to go to work. It's a very intentional decision to not lose yourself, just like it's an intentional decision to be intentional in your marriage. I mean, because you can easily lose your relationship in your marriage just by living your life every day. So it's honestly just an intentional. I would say be intentional about not losing what you love. There are sacrifices in marriage. I can't say that you don't have to sacrifice. You do have to sacrifice in marriage at times. That's not fair to your marriage and your relationship. But find somebody who would cheer you on and encourage you, and being intentional to what makes you happy, with or spending time with God and let Him reveal to you what He has for you to do in this life, in this purpose.
That's right.
Okay. Sophia, what advice would you give?
Okay, so my advice is that first and foremost, you have to put God first. Because we all talk about this and we realize that God used different instances to pull us towards Him. So He wants us on our knees, praising Him. So when we all feel like we're there and we're just looking everywhere else except up, He's going to pull us back down to our knees. So first advice is to always put God into your relationship. And even if you go through things like what I'm going through now, just remember it's something that's going to make you, evolve if you trust the process into something bigger and better and what purpose God has for you. So relationships are hard, but trusting God and making sure that you guys are on the same leaf of who God is and who's God first. This should be a threesome. I like threesomes. That has to be. The threesome is just God, your husband, and the wife. That's the threesome I love. So just that's a threesome you should always have. And it's pleasurable actually. As God is in the midst of it. Just continue to look towards God, and it's a process. It's not easy. So just take it one day at a time and love your partner with with unconditional love that God loves you with.
Yes, that's good. That's good.
Well, you'll be doing all right, Alexis.
I'll be all right.
Yes, you'll be fine.
So, Mom, last but not least, what advice would you give?
But the advice that I would give to you, my dear daughter, and to the other women out there is love yourself. It's not vanity to love yourself, because God thinks that we are beyond amazing. He lavishes so much love. He pursues and woos us. He has so much wonderful things to say about us. And if He feels that way about me, why don't I agree with Him? And choose to love myself, nurture my mind, my body, and my soul. And then if we can do that, and we discover that we have so much great value, we're so busy loving others, I'm going to love on myself because I matter and I'm worth it, because God says that I am. If I can do that, then I'm going to be healthy and better for it.
And he can't lie.
No.
That's right. That's right.
No.
Thank you so much, ladies. Oh my gosh, the stories are amazing. I love it. I love you guys. Thank you so
I
much.
love you
Love
too.
you
Like, thank you so much for just sharing your experiences. I know that your experiences have been difficult at moments, and sometimes huge expanses of time. But every stage, every experience is not to be taken lightly, and it's not to be taken for granted. Everything that you guys have gone through, whether you're going through it right now or coming out on the other side, whatever stage that you're at, it's for a reason. And part of that is teaching people like me. I'm so grateful for you guys.
Yes.
I'm so grateful. I'm so glad that you guys decided to join us on Sister Talks. Thank you so much, everybody. We love you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Yes. You
Have
love
a
you,
good
ladies.
Bye.
For joining us on this episode of Sister Talks. We cannot begin to express the gratitude and appreciation for all of your love and all of your support that you've given us so far. If you've enjoyed this program, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube page. And if you feel so inclined, you can go ahead and support this show by clicking on the link below and giving any gift that you decide. You can also follow us on Instagram and also on Facebook, Sister Talks, and also hashtag Sistahs Lets Talk for anything that is linked to us. Like it and share it to all your friends, ladies. We love you and thank you, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye.